everyone! Sometimes when I create a card background, I glue it onto my card and call it a day. And normally that's great, but after a while it gets kind of boring. So today I wanted to show you a couple of ways that you can spice up your card backgrounds that are pretty quick and easy. Let's dive in. Now, it always goes without saying that you can apply these techniques to your own stash, but if you happen to be shopping, I am using my brand new release called Enchanted Evergreen. Today is Prime Day, Wednesday, July 17th, and there's 20% off all full price items over at CraftStash. For all of my US customers, there's free shipping over $40. And not only that, there are a bunch of items from my It's Just Paper line that are on clearance, some as low as $3. So be sure to check out the links in the video description. In today's card tutorial, I'm going to be using a background that is hot foiled. However, these layouts and cards can apply to anything like a stamped background, a heat embossed background, even patterned paper for that matter. But as I was saying, sometimes you just get a little bored of creating the same type of card with a background and a sentiment. So I'm going to heat up my hot foil machine, waiting for it to turn solid, saying platform ready, and I'm going to hit the timer button. When the timer button is solid, I'm going to lay my foil across it and then my paper for my background. Then comes the platforms here that are applicable to your machine. Every machine is different, and I'm going to run it through my die cutting machine. I did, however, put an extra piece of cardstock inside here just to make it a little bit of a tighter squeeze to make sure that the middle foiled. Sometimes when you do large background dies like this one, or hot foil plates for that matter, the center doesn't foil quite as nicely as the sides because it just needs a little bit more pressure, and therefore adding the cardstock shim really helps. In order to show off different backgrounds, I did foil this onto a few different colors of paper, like peacock green, navy blue, dark purple, and then the white, of course. These days, whenever I'm doing foiling, I also take my Spellbinder solid dies in various shapes, and I use my leftover foil here to create additional cards. This way I don't have so much waste when it comes to the foil. These work the same way as regular hot foils. The only thing I suggest is leaving it double as long to heat up than you do standard hot foils, just because it is so solid. Probably the simplest thing that you can do when it comes to backgrounds like this, if you want to switch things up rather than just gluing this straight onto your card and being done, is to cut it down so that you have a border around your card. Now this border can be any color, but this is the color of your card base, of course. So my go-to is to cut off 1/4 inch from the top and 1/4 inch from the right. However, you can cut off as much as you want, and the larger cut that you make, the bigger, bolder statement it's going to make, I think, because anytime you're using colored cardstock and you're popping it against a white colored background, it makes the colors more vibrant, in my opinion. So I had to cut off 3/4 of an inch off of the top and off of the right-hand side, or the left-hand side, can't remember, it doesn't matter which side at the end of the day, and then you have a finished card. So you can see how that really makes everything pop. If you're using a colored cardstock background, or even a white background for that matter, you can go in with colored pencils or markers and just color in the areas of your background stamp, your hot foil plate, whichever one you end up using. If you're using darker cardstock, I do recommend colored pencils just because they will actually show up on your card. Majority of markers will not, unless they're paint markers, I believe they are. So I'm just going to go in and color this, and I'm just going to do a very simple shading here. All of the areas are quite small, so it's not necessary to do a ton of details. I keep the petals that are closer to the center of the flower darker, while the tips of the flowers I just color lighter. It's really not rocket science when it comes to an image this small. I am going to be going into detail on how to color something like this in my 12 Days of Christmas series coming up in October, but overall, like I said, nothing really like rocket science or anything like that. I'm just going to color in some of the elements of this card just to make it really pretty and stand out. It just makes it just so much better than just a simple hot foiled cover plate on a background die. Let's go back to another easy technique that you can do. So I'm going to fold my card base first, and then I'm going to grab one of my backgrounds here, this time the dark purple one. And I'm going to line up one of the corners on the track of my cutter, and I'm going to just do whatever angle I feel like. You can do a deeper cut. It just depends on how much white space you want to show on your card. So by cutting it down like this, you can actually get a 2-for-1 card. You could use the other piece for a different card if you'd like. And you can make sort of a different sort of modern sort of cut of card and have the white area at the bottom and then have your sentiment towards the top. I was a little unsure about sentiment placement here, and then I decided against the purple I think looks best. You let me know in the comments if you think I chose correctly or if you would have put it somewhere different. And let's get into another really simple technique. So grab yourself a nesting die. Any shape is fine. Circles, squares, ovals, rectangles, doesn't really matter. I really have been enjoying this one the last little while because it's a little bit fancier than a rectangle die, but overall it keeps things very simple. It's a very simple shape. Don't mind the mess on my desk. When I'm creating 16 cards at a time, things can get a little messy on this small space. Let's zoom in so you don't have to see that mess. All right, so I'm gonna go in and I'm going to glue the frame, and I'm going to glue that onto my card, and then I'm gonna use foam tape to prop up the centerpiece. I just added a center Merry Christmas here just to make it pop out. You could have backed that as well with a bit of gold cardstock. I think if I were to remake this card, I would add gold cardstock behind, maybe a couple little embellishments, but I decided to leave it as is, as a very clean and simple card. Now, I think all of these techniques are really easy and achievable. If you'd like to see 14 ways to combine background techniques to create amazing cards, then come meet me over here in this video and let me know which one is your favorite.